Imagine waking up to a life unburdened by clutter, chaos, or endless to-do lists. A life where your heart feels light, your mind is clear, and every moment carries a sense of purpose and peace. This is the promise of simplicity, a way of living that invites us to let go of what weighs us down and embrace what truly matters. Simplicity isn't about deprivation or sacrifice, it's about creating space for joy, connection, and meaning. It's about choosing quality over quantity, depth over distraction, and presence over pressure. Today, we're going to explore the wisdom of letting go, why simplicity wins, and how it can transform your life into something vibrant, fulfilling, and free. Let's start with a story. There was a man named Hiroshi, a successful businessman in Tokyo, whose life was a whirlwind of meetings, emails, and deadlines. His apartment was filled with gadgets, designer clothes, and stacks of unread books he swore he'd get to someday. But despite his achievements, Hiroshi felt empty. His days blurred together, and stress was his constant companion. One weekend, he visited his grandmother in a small village nestled in the mountains. Her home was modest, a few pieces of furniture, a small garden, and a single shelf of well-loved books. Yet she radiated contentment. Over tea, she shared a simple truth. Don't add stress to peace, Hiroshi. Let go of what you don't need, and you'll find what you've been searching for. Those words stayed with him. Back in the city, Hiroshi began to simplify. He donated clothes he hadn't worn in years, unsubscribed from endless notifications, and started saying no to commitments that didn't align with his values. He traded late-night work sessions for evening walks, noticing the way the city lights danced on the river. Slowly, his life felt lighter. He had fewer things, but more time. Less noise, but deeper connections. Hiroshi's story isn't unique. It's a reminder that simplicity is a choice we can all make, no matter where we are. Why does simplicity feel so elusive? We live in a world that glorifies more stuff, more success, more everything. Advertisements tell us we need the latest phone, the trendiest outfit, the busiest schedule to be enough. But here's the secret. More doesn't equal better. In fact, it often equals stress, overwhelm, and disconnection. The wisdom of letting go lies in recognizing that peace comes not from adding, but from subtracting. As the Zen proverb says, let go or be dragged. Holding on to things, whether physical clutter, toxic relationships, or outdated beliefs, keeps us tethered to a life that doesn't serve us. Simplicity starts with small steps. Take a moment to look around your space. What objects are collecting dust? What commitments are draining your energy? What thoughts are cluttering your mind? Letting go doesn't mean abandoning everything. It means being intentional about what you keep. Marie Kondo, the tidying expert, asks, does it spark joy? That's a powerful question. Apply it not just to your possessions, but to your time, your relationships, your goals. Keep what uplifts you and release what doesn't. Let's pause for a quote from Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher. To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day. Isn't that beautiful? Wisdom isn't about accumulating more information or achievements. It's about clearing away the noise to uncover what's true. When we let go of the need to control, to impress, to be everything to everyone, we create space for clarity and creativity. Simplicity is the canvas on which we paint a life that feels authentic and alive. Consider the story of Sarah, a single mother in Chicago who felt trapped in a cycle of overwork and overwhelm. She juggled 2 jobs, a packed calendar, and a home overflowing with toys, clothes, and forgotten projects. One day, exhausted, she sat down with a cup of coffee and asked herself, what do I really want? The answer was time. Time to laugh with her kids, to read a book, to breathe. She started small, a no-spend month to curb impulse buys, a weekly unplugged evening with her family, and a commitment to say no to non-essential tasks. Over time, her home became less cluttered, her schedule less frantic, and her heart more full. Sarah's life wasn't perfect, but it was simpler, and that made all the difference. Simplicity isn't just about physical stuff. It's about mental and emotional decluttering too. Think about the grudges you're holding, the regrets you're replaying, the what-ifs that keep you up at night. Letting go of these is like opening a window in a stuffy room. It's liberating. Try this. Write down one thing you're ready to release, a worry, a fear, a resentment. Then burn the paper or tear it up. Feel the weight lift. This small act can be the start of a simpler, lighter you. As we embrace simplicity, we rediscover what's essential. We find joy in a quiet morning, a heartfelt conversation, a walk in nature. We realize that life doesn't need to be complicated to be meaningful. So let's choose simplicity today. Let's choose to let go of what's dragging us down and make room for what lifts us up. The journey to a simpler life starts with a single step. Take it and see where it leads. Letting go is one of the most courageous acts we can undertake. It's not about giving up. It's about trusting that life will unfold as it should when we release our grip on what no longer serves us. Letting go is the heartbeat of simplicity, the key that unlocks a life of freedom and peace. It's about saying, I don't need to carry this anymore, and trusting that what remains is enough. Let's dive into why letting go is so powerful and how it can transform the way we live. Picture a hiker named Elena, trudging up a mountain with a backpack stuffed to the brim. She's carrying extra clothes, gadgets, snacks she won't eat, and books she won't read. Halfway up, her legs ache, her breath is shallow, and she's tempted to turn back. But then she stops, opens her pack, and starts letting go. She keeps only the essentials: water, a map, a light jacket, and suddenly the climb feels possible. With each step, she feels stronger, freer, more alive. That's what letting go does for us. It lightens our load, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. What are you carrying that you don't need? Maybe it's the need to please everyone, the fear of missing out, or the belief that you're not enough. These are heavy burdens, and they slow us down. Letting go means trusting that you are enough, just as you are. It means releasing the need for approval, the obsession with perfection, the endless comparison to others. As the saying goes, you can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Letting go is how we turn the page. Let's talk about a woman named Maya, who spent years holding on to a toxic relationship. She loved her partner, but their arguments left her drained, and their values no longer aligned. She stayed because she feared being alone, feared starting over. But one day, she heard a quote that changed everything. Sometimes holding on does more damage than letting go. With tears in her eyes, she ended the relationship. It was painful, but it was also freeing. She rediscovered her passions, reconnected with friends, and found a peace she hadn't known in years. Maya's story reminds us that letting go isn't loss, it's liberation. Letting go also applies to our thoughts. Our minds can be like cluttered attics, filled with worries, regrets, and endless shoulds. Meditation teacher Jack Kornfield says, "The mind is a wonderful servant but a terrible master." When we let go of overthinking, we give our minds a chance to rest. Try this simple practice. Sit quietly for 5 minutes, focus on your breath, and when a thought arises, imagine it as a leaf floating down a river. Let it drift away. This isn't about suppressing thoughts. It's about not clinging to them. It's about creating space for peace. Nature teaches us about letting go. Think of a tree in autumn, releasing its leaves without resistance. It doesn't cling to them, fearing it won't survive. It trusts that new leaves will grow in spring. We can learn from this. Letting go of old habits, old identities, old dreams doesn't mean we're failing. It means we're making room for growth. As author Paulo Coelho writes, if you're brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. What new hello is waiting for you? Let's consider the story of David, a corporate lawyer who dreamed of being a musician. For years, he clung to his high-paying job, afraid to let go of the security and status. But the stress was killing him, literally. After a health scare, he decided to simplify. He sold his fancy car, moved to a smaller apartment, and started teaching guitar lessons. It wasn't easy, but it was honest. Today, David plays music at local venues, his laughter is louder, and his heart is lighter. He let go of what society told him he should want and embraced what he truly loved. Letting go is an act of faith. Faith in yourself, in life, in the unknown. It's scary, yes, but it's also exhilarating. Think of it like jumping into a cool lake on a hot day. The first plunge is daunting, but once you're in, you feel alive. So what's one thing you can let go of today? A grudge? A fear? A cluttered corner of your home? Start small and watch how it ripples. Letting go isn't about losing. It's about gaining freedom, clarity, and the courage to live a life that feels like yours. Stories have a way of bringing ideas to life, don't they? They show us what's possible, inspire us to take action, and remind us we're not alone. Let's explore real and imagined stories of people who embraced simplicity, let go of what didn't serve them, and found joy in the process. These stories are like lanterns, lighting the path to a simpler, more meaningful life. First, meet Aisha, a graphic designer in London who felt suffocated by her fast paced life. Her days were packed with client meetings, social media scrolling, and a constant need to keep up. One day, she stumbled across a quote by minimalist Joshua Becker: "Owning less is better than organizing more." It hit her like a lightning bolt. She spent a weekend decluttering her apartment, donating bags of clothes, electronics, and knickknacks. But she didn't stop there. She simplified her digital life, unfollowing accounts that made her feel inadequate, turning off notifications, and setting boundaries with work emails. The result? Aisha felt like she could breathe again. She started painting for fun, not for clients, and found joy in quiet evenings with a cup of tea and a good book. Her life wasn't perfect, but it was hers. Then there's the story of a community in rural Oregon that decided to simplify together. Tired of the consumerist rat race, a group of neighbors started a simplicity circle. They met weekly to share tips on living with less, swapping clothes, gardening together, and hosting potlucks instead of expensive outings. One member, Carlos, a father of 3, realized he was spending more time working to afford stuff than being with his kids. He and his wife downsized their home, cut unnecessary expenses, and prioritized family time. The kids didn't miss the extra toys. They loved the new tradition of Saturday hikes and storytelling nights. The community's experiment showed that simplicity isn't just personal, it can bring people together. Let's travel back in time to the story of Diogenes, the ancient Greek philosopher who lived in a clay jar to prove that happiness doesn't come from possessions. When Alexander the Great visited him and offered to grant any wish, Diogenes replied, "Move out of my sunlight." That bold simplicity shocked Alexander, but it also inspired him. Diogenes didn't need wealth or power. He needed only the freedom to live on his own terms. His story reminds us that simplicity isn't new. It's a timeless wisdom that cuts through the noise of any era. Now imagine Lila, a college student overwhelmed by the pressure to have it all figured out. She was juggling classes, internships, and a packed social calendar, all while comparing herself to her peers on social media. One day, her professor shared a quote from Confucius: "Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated." Lila decided to simplify. She dropped an extracurricular that felt like a chore, limited her social media time, and started journaling to process her thoughts. She began taking walks in a nearby park, noticing the way the leaves rustled and the birds sang. Those walks became her sanctuary, a reminder that joy doesn't require a perfect plan, just presence. These stories share a common thread. Simplicity is a choice, and letting go is the key. Whether it's decluttering a home, a schedule, or a mindset, the act of releasing creates space for what matters. As author Anne Lamott says, almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. So let's unplug from the chaos. Let's let go of what's heavy and embrace what's light. These stories aren't just inspiration. They're invitations to start your own journey towards simplicity. Simplicity sounds beautiful, but how do we actually make it happen? It's one thing to be inspired by stories and quotes. It's another to roll up your sleeves and start letting go. This section is your guide to practical, actionable steps for simplifying your life. These ideas are designed to be approachable, adaptable, and most importantly, doable. Let's dive in with optimism and a can-do spirit. First, let's tackle physical clutter. Your environment shapes your mind, so start with your space. Pick one area, your desk, your closet, your kitchen counter, and spend 15 minutes decluttering. Ask yourself, do I use this? Do I love it? If the answer is no, let it go. Donate, recycle, or toss it. Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. As you clear your space, you'll feel a sense of calm wash over you. Try this. Set a timer for 10 minutes each day for a week and declutter one small area at a time. By the end, you'll be amazed at how much lighter your home feels. Next, simplify your schedule. Time is your most precious resource, so guard it fiercely. Look at your calendar and ask, what can I say no to? Maybe it's a meeting that could be an email, a social event that feels obligatory, or a habit of overcommitting. Practice saying, I'd love to, but I can't right now. It's not selfish, it's self-care. Try scheduling white space in your day, 30 minutes with no agenda, just for you. Use it to read, walk, or simply sit quietly. This small act of reclaiming time can feel like a gift. Digital clutter is another big one. Our phones and computers can be black holes of distraction. Start by unsubscribing from email newsletters you don't read. Aim to delete 10 a day for a week. Turn off non-essential notifications. You don't need to know every time someone likes your post. Consider a digital detox. One evening a week, go screen-free. Light a candle, play music, or talk with a loved one. You'll be surprised how refreshing it feels to disconnect. Let's talk about mental simplicity. Our thoughts can be our biggest source of clutter. Try a daily brain dump. Write down everything on your mind, tasks, worries, ideas. Then sort them. What's urgent? What can wait? What can you let go? This practice clears mental fog and helps you focus. Another tool is gratitude. Each morning, write down 3 things you're thankful for. It shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant, creating a simpler, more joyful mindset. Relationships can also be simplified. Not every connection needs to be maintained forever. If a relationship feels draining, set gentle boundaries. Maybe it's limiting contact or being honest about your needs. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who share your values, who make you laugh. As poet Rumi says, set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames. Letting go of toxic ties makes room for meaningful ones. Finally, simplify your goals. You don't need to chase every dream at once. Pick 1 or 2 that light you up and focus on them. Break them into small, actionable steps. Celebrate progress, not perfection. If a goal no longer excites you, give yourself permission to let it go. Life is too short to pursue things that don't matter to you. These steps aren't a one-size-fits-all formula. They're a starting point. Experiment, adjust, and find what works for you. Simplicity is a journey, not a destination. Each small act of letting go builds momentum, creating a life that feels spacious, intentional, and deeply yours. So take a deep breath and let's start simplifying today. What does a simple life feel like? It's waking up without dread, moving through your day with ease, and going to bed with a heart full of gratitude. It's not about having less, it's about having more of what matters. In this final section, let's celebrate the joy of living simply, the beauty of a life unburdened by excess, and the freedom that comes from letting go. This is the reward of simplicity, and it's within your reach. Imagine a morning where you sip your coffee slowly, noticing its warmth, its aroma, its comfort. There's no rush to check emails or scroll through news. Your home is tidy, not perfect, but functional and welcoming. Your day has purpose, not because it's packed, but because you've chosen what fills it. This is the joy of simplicity, presence, peace, and a deep connection to the moment. Let's revisit Hiroshi, the businessman from our first section. After simplifying his life, he found joy in unexpected places. He started gardening, feeling the earth between his fingers. He reconnected with old friends, laughing over shared memories. He even took up calligraphy, finding calm in each deliberate stroke. His life wasn't flashy, but it was rich. Simplicity gave him the space to rediscover what made him feel alive. Joy also comes from gratitude. When we simplify, we notice the small things, a sunset, a kind word, a quiet moment. Try this. Keep a gratitude journal for a week. Each night, write down 3 moments that brought you joy. Maybe it's a child's laughter, a warm meal, or the way the wind felt on your face. Over time, you'll see how much abundance exists in a simple life. Simplicity fosters connection. When we're not distracted by stuff or stress, we have more energy for the people we love. Think of a family dinner with no phones, just stories and laughter, or a walk with a friend where you truly listen. These moments are the heartbeat of a simple life. As author Mitch Albom writes, the most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and to let it come in. Simplicity makes room for that love. Let's end with the story of Emma, a retiree who downsized from a sprawling house to a cozy cottage. She was nervous at first. Would she miss her old life? But the cottage felt like home. She spent her days gardening, reading, and volunteering at a local shelter. Her evenings were filled with music and conversations with neighbors. Emma's life was smaller, but her heart was bigger. She found joy in the ordinary, beauty in the everyday. The wisdom of letting go is this: simplicity wins because it brings us back to ourselves. It strips away the noise and reveals what's true. It's not about having less, it's about having more space to live, love, and grow. So embrace simplicity. Let go of what's heavy. Step into a life that feels light, joyful, and deeply yours. The world is waiting for you to shine.